Right, good morning YouTube, or good evening, good night, wherever you are from. It's 6 o'clock in the morning on the 22nd of June 2025. Now, this is a follow-on from the previous video of the MSI GS63VR-7RF gaming laptop that I purchased for £90. Now, spoiler alert, I've already got this working, and what a result that was. So, enjoy this episode.
Be strong.
Right, so, what a result that was. I purchased the laptop for £90, and on top of that, alright, I've managed to get it working. It transpired that the only fault there was that I've been able to find so far was with that power button. Alright, because when I go back and have a look at the original listing, which I've got up here now, right, it turned around and said on there, laptop can be heard powering on but no display and then shortly powers down. Seems like a motherboard issue. Well, actually, no it wasn't. What happened was when you pushed the power button, it became stuck into the on position. So yes, although it would power up, there was no display because there was not enough time that had elapsed for it to do the post screen. And then it shortly powered down, yes, of course, because the power button had been pushed in. Right, so it'll power up, it'll fire up, and then it'll shut itself down. So that's how come the eBay listing had it look like a motherboard issue. Now, I got the unit here, and spoiler alert, I've already had it working. So we'll have a look at this in a moment. Now, I did take a punt with this, so sort of pretty much I took a gamble, because on the listing as well there was no pictures of the underside of this, so there could very well have been parts missing, in which case the laptop would have been a money pit. Alright, but that wasn't the case. I got away very lucky, and not only does this bad boy have everything with it and it works, alright, the specs are pretty reasonable as well. So it's an i7, it's got an NVIDIA GTX 1060 graphics card in it, with 16 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gig of SSD storage, and 2 terabytes of hard disk storage, all for £90, and it's a gaming laptop that I bought. So that's the result. There is, however, another downside, in the sense I couldn't find an appropriate charger for it. But not to worry, I have a stand-in charger here. Now, the voltage on this one is a little bit low. It comes in at 19 volt, and it's a 39.9 watt charger. So it isn't actually enough to power this unit if the laptop was needing more power due to system resources. But for testing, this actually did the job. So let's plug it in and let's see what we get. Right, okay, time to plug the charger in. And let's fire the laptop up. So we carefully lift the lid, and let's see if we can get this into the BIOS now. So press that power button gently, because I've still got to address this. And then we're going to span delete and F2. And with luck, we should get the BIOS. No, it's doing that fault again. That's what I mean. So the power button itself, I haven't actually completely repaired it yet. But that's actually the fault of what it did. So it powered up and then it powered off because the power button is still stuck. Let's try it again. And there we are, we've got a post screen. So pressing delete and F2, we've now got our system BIOS. And when we go down to storage information, we can see that there is indeed a 2 terabyte hard drive in here with 256 gig of SSD. So this was not a motherboard fault. It was a power button fault that got stuck. I'm not quite sure how the technicians or whoever it was had failed to spot that. But nonetheless, that's fine for me. So we'll F10 this, save configuration and reset and get out of that. And let's see now. Again, spoiler alert, I've already done this, so I know that the system's working. But let's see what we get anywho in terms of this video. Now, it is worth noting that this did come with a copy of Windows 10 on it. Alright. Now, we've got our spinning donut icon here. So there we are, that's running. And I think that would make quite a good thumbnail. So picture for the video, possibly. But yeah, that's running. So we'll just let this thing boot up. And then we'll talk about the Windows 10 issue that there is. It's not so much of an issue, so much as that the unit will just need to be wiped properly, alright, little bit properly, and then reinstalled. Let me just move that charging cable out the way so that doesn't overheat. Let's just give this a moment. Right, now we're presented with this. Choose an operating system. Windows 10 on volume 1 and Windows 10 on volume 5. So what somebody has done on this, right, is they've installed Windows 10 twice. I'm not quite sure why they've done that, but it appears that there's Windows 10 on both the SSD and the HDD on it. So those instances will need to be removed. But the machine, as you see, is actually booting up. So it just says prepare to configure Windows, please don't turn off your computer. But spoiler alert, I've already done all of this and it worked. Let's just give this a moment. Oh no, it's powered itself off again because of that power button. But there we are, it's now loaded. So I definitely have to sort that power button out for once and for all, which means buying a replacement part. Pardon me. That's no big deal, because on eBay, they are selling for about £20. About that. So that's not too bad. So I will purchase a replacement power button for this guy and a legitimate charger for it, as we just let this thing boot up. And there we are, Windows 10, all properly running, until that power button's done that nonsense again. But it's most definitely not a motherboard fault. It was a power button. Now, let's talk about pricing of this, shall we, when it's all completed. In its current state, CEX has these things listed at sort of £350 on resale. Now, you could trade it in with them for £157 cash. That's a little bit low for me. Or they'll take it off my hands for £224 with a voucher. Again, still a little bit low for me. Now, even at £200 though, that's doubled my money because I only paid £90 for the unit. But it is a little bit low. And then obviously I have to buy a replacement charger for this guy, which will come in at about £25 or so. Let's try and sort that power button out again. Because I want this to boot up. But anywho, I was sort of digressing. So C-grade condition for this unit, they're selling them at about $350. That's a nice amount of money there. Okay? Because I only paid $90 for it. Yeah, it's definitely that power button, which I've got to sort out. But anywho, so 350 quid for it. I think that's reasonable for a C grade. Now, it is worth noting, right, that, yeah, the case is a little bit damaged on it. The lid has got some problems. But I can address those issues and potentially get a bit more money for it. Now, bear with me. One moment, please, while I try and lever that power button out carefully. Right, done that. And as it transpires, actually, we've got some even better luck. It wasn't even the power button that was faulty. So strike that one. I don't actually need to replace the power button because what's happened here, all right, there's a piece of the frame that's missing. And that piece there, that you can see that's broken off, that had pushed against the power button, you see. So we don't even need a replacement power button. I just need a replacement aluminium frame. So I'm going to wait until one comes up at the right price, and then I'm going to swag that. But I've got me a gaming laptop there for £90. So I'm quite happy with that. That was a sort of digression. Let's get back to the book price of these, as we were saying. So about 350 quid for a C-grade item. That's 3 times my money that I've got back there. So that's good. That's not a problem. But I am, however, going to keep this unit, and I might let my other laptop go. Because, yeah, although it's in pristine condition, it's not as powerful as this one. But that's a story for another day, and we're going to actually do a comparison with the Acer Nitro 5, the early edition, and this. Alright. Now, they're not similar specs because this is an i7 with 16 gig RAM, and the Acer Nitro 5, can't remember how much RAM is in it, but it's only an i5 7th gen or something like that. 5 or 7th gen. It's something like that, but it's definitely an i5. But again, we're still digressing because of book price on this. When it's all completed, I should be looking at £400 for it if I was to sell it. So that's 4 times my money back, 400%. But then I've got to knock off the price that it's going to cost me for a charger, which is 25 quid with delivery. And then obviously to address that metal frame issue. So I'll be looking at possibly a profit of around £200 to £250 on that, which isn't bad. But anywho, we've got this loaded up, so let's have a look at that. Let's just give this a moment to come up, just to see that Windows is loading properly. And then what we'll do is terminate the video thereafter, and then I'm going to crack on with the rest of my day and install Windows 10 on it properly, and probably Kali Linux as well, because I do like Kali Linux, as you might have gathered. But yeah, for 90 quid, I think I've picked up a bargain. It's all running. It's got Windows 10 on there. I could change the keyboard colours as well and do all that fandango. So I reckon we should have a go at doing that. Because I installed, what was it now? SteelSeries GG on this. Let's just wait for this thing to continue to boot up properly. Because the HDD in it, the hard disk drive's a little bit slow. I'm not happy about that. But it runs. There's definitely not a motherboard fault. It transpires that all it was that power button getting stuck. Result, free fix. Not going to complain with that. And that is the reason why you called. Let's have a look and see how we're getting on now. Yeah, that should have actually loaded up properly by now. So maybe the hard drive needs sorting out on that. Maybe. Or maybe it might be dying. I don't know. We'll have to see. But got me a gaming laptop for £90. What a result. So the rest of that is potentially an easy fix. Yeah, that is a bit slow, isn't it? Alright, I'm not going to make you wait through that one, so let's pause it right quick and then have a look at that SteelSeries GG, because we can change the keyboard colours on here. Oh, that's better. It's all loaded up now. Right, one moment please. Right, we're back. Keyboard colours changed because of SteelSeries GG. Alright, so what we'll do, there it is, there's the RGB keyboard. So what we can do is click that, and then we can actually live preview this when we change the colours. So let's do that. So if I click on that, hit blue or purple, you see that the colour's changed. Close. We'll have that one as red, shall we? There we are, close. So that all works. Now, I don't like the colour of that. I want it all in green. So there we are. So even the backlights on the keyboards are working correctly. That is fantastic for £90. Right bargain. So, now that we've covered that, just before I get off, I think I will keep this unit, actually, and I'm going to let a couple of my other laptops go instead, because this is better spec'd and it has better potential for what I want for it. Alright, now I'm not a gamer, but I want the most amount of processing and graphics power out of my machines as I can get. Alright, because I run things like Kali Linux, as I said, and I do like bits of ethical hacking here and there. And the whole purpose of that as well, if I want to do password cracking, which takes a lot of system resources, I've got a laptop for that, right? So this guy's going to get kept. In any event, I want to address that power button problem for once and for all. I want to tidy this up a bit, as I am keeping it. Alright, and I want to change the top lid on this, because if we have a look here, it's dented. You'll be able to see those dent marks in it. I don't like that. I like my stuff to be pristine and look nice. So I'm going to address that issue as well, which is going to be another 45 quid. But I'm going to go ahead and order those parts today. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and order the replacement charger. And we're going to go from there. Why is this not powering up? It should do. There we go. Not bad for £90. Not bad. Right, so that brings us to the end of today's video then, YouTube. And I thank you all very much for watching, liking, commenting, sharing and subscribing on this one. But, yeah, we got it working. Got the laptop done. Alright, sort of. It's in a runnable condition. Now it's just cosmetic. And tidy all that up. And I'll be hot to trot. Alright, decent spec machine. The inside of it's all complete. No parts missing. And, as a bonus, everything in there is nice and clean as well. So, at least internally, it's been maintained. It's just unfortunate that it's got a little bit of damage on it, but I can let that slide for now. Anyway, as I said, that's the end of today's video, so thank you all again. Like, comment, share and subscribe as usual. Get bell on. Ring-a-ding. And as always, look forward to seeing you in another video. So, for now, take care, see you soon, and stay good.